Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. If I had to pick my most favorite attachment for a tractor, it would be pallet forks. And when I worked in the dealership world and sold tractors, when I was selling a new tractor, I'd almost always push the person to get pallet forks. And it wasn't because I'd make more money, it was because I knew they'd use them and they'd thank me later and they'd appreciate that they got so much more versatility out of their tractor. So I'm a huge fan of pallet forks. And I've actually had people ask me on this channel, what attachments do I get? And I've had a few people I told you got to get pallet forks that have come back later and said, oh wow, thank you for telling me that. I do use them a lot. So today we're going to talk about pallet forks and kind of what to look for if you're shopping for a set of pallet forks. They're kind of simple. There's not a lot to them, but I'm gonna tell you what there is to them and what to look for and some things that'll make you happier with the pallet forks you select. And then we'll talk a little bit about tricks to use them and a little bit about maintenance. There's a little trick I'll show you that'll save you some effort later on down the road. So first off, what options do I look for with pallet forks? Well, the main one is the length of the fork. And if you have a subcompact tractor, you don't want a heavy set of pallet forks. You probably want 36-inch long forks and a lighter frame, because if you're not careful on a subcompact tractor, you'll take up all your lift capacity with the weight of the forks. On a bigger tractor, on a probably 26 horsepower on up, your choices are going to be generally 42-inch pallet forks, which is what I've always had, or like this set here, 48-inch pallet forks, which I'm thinking of going to, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. So what's the advantage of one over the other? Well, the advantage of 42-inch pallet forks, if you're new to running a tractor, you know, they'll stick out less when you're turning. You're not used to having all of that length out there, and you can run into a gate or the side of your house or a tree or whatever and really do some damage to your loader or your fork. So having the shorter forks is kind of an advantage there. The disadvantage to the shorter forks is that on some pallets, I'm seeing more and more, it seems like, pallets that are long, and if you don't have longer forks, say you've got to get out and attach a chain or something to the end of the pallet and lift it up, and you're kind of relying on the pallet they'll hold together to lift the load off. And if you've got these longer 48-inch forks, which is what I'm thinking about going to, you might just be able to get under the pallet and lift it with no problem. So that's an advantage. Now, contrary to that disadvantage, with a 48-inch forks, if you've got 2 or 3 pallets together and you're just trying to get one, if you go all the way in, you may pick up 2 pallets or part of 2 pallets when you move. So that's one main option right there, is the length of the pallets. And honestly, I would be perfectly happy with 42-inch. If I had a subcompact tractor, I'd live with 36-inch pallet forks, but with a regular size tractor, 42-inch or 48-inch pallet forks, it wouldn't matter to me. Either way, I'd be happy with them. Now, the second option I'll talk about, and this set of pallet forks doesn't have it, some pallet forks have a hook right here, or a loop for you to attach stuff to, a chain or whatever. I've had that on pallet forks I've owned in the past, and I never ever used it, so it's not something I would probably pay extra for. But if you need that on some forks, it's there. You can chain up here to the frame if you want to, but there's no loop or hook right there on this set of pallet forks. Another thing I would look for in pallet forks is a good heavy guard your front of your tractor. You're going to pick up weight, and if something comes back, you want this to catch it right here. A lot of your cheaper forks will have a little dinky guard right here, and if you've got a pile of bricks or something and you tilt it back, it'll end up on your hood. So a heavy backing plate right here, guard to protect your tractor, is good. And I'll tell you another thing I will tell you to look for, and I really never noticed that till I was trying out this set of 48-inch pallet forks. These forks here have tremendous visibility from the tractor seat. A lot of pallet forks have a closed area in here, in the middle, and you might see a little bit of your forks. This particular set of pallet forks right here has a big open area here. The impeding factor in your visibility on these forks is actually your tractor quick attach, but you can see probably a half to 2/3 of the fork whenever you're up high, and I like that. I like being able to see my forks, and especially when you're new to pallet forks, it's nice to be able to see your forks so you can see what you're doing. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about, I'll give you just a little bit of pallet fork 101. If you want to take a fork off or move them, there's usually an over-center device here where you lift it up and then you just scoot them over. And you'll notice how hard that is to move. And that reason is these are new pallet forks and they haven't been lubricated. And I'm going to give you a little tip on how to lubricate them. Another device, different other brands of pallet forks will have a device that you lift up and that releases the lock, but there's slots up here that those lock into, and that keeps your forks at a set angle. And if you want to take a fork off of your pallet fork frame, you can. Like I said, this is new with new paint on it and not lubricated, and we're going to lubricate it here in a minute. I'll show you how much easier that makes things. But if you want to take a fork off, get it to the center, and then you can lift it off. And as heavy as these forks are, watch your fingers. You can get in trouble. That's how your pallet forks come off. Let's talk about my sponsor, WD40. This whole system here is going to get a lot easier when I do two things. When I spray that top rail there with WD-40, that's going to make moving those forks around. Now when I get the paint wore off of these forks, that's going to make it a lot easier. But I'll show you another little trick. If you'll tilt your forks forward a little bit, it'll make moving them up and down that rail a little easier. Now I'm going to show you a new product. Most of you know WD-40 is a sponsor of mine, and I've used WD-40 all my life. And this is a place where WD-40 really comes in handy. And they've got a new product that I like for pallet forks. It's called WD-40 Specialist Spray and Stay Gel Lubricant. And this is something you need in your toolbox or around your workbench, because a situation like this, you just spray that on all over that rail there and a little bit under the pallet fork and then work it in. And with the pallet fork tilted forward and a little bit of lubrication on this frame, you're going to see how much easier that slides. And that, looky there. Now if you own pallet forks, keep this product around. You'll find other uses for it too, but that'll stay where you put it, and it's a gel lubricant, so it'll keep those forks moving back and forth. Tilting your forks forward puts the weight out to the front, and you're not fighting the weight of the fork, pushing it from side to side. I need to put some down here too. There. Watch your fingers, because when you get them lubricated and moving back and forth, they'll slide, bam, and mash a finger quicker than anything. So watch that. If you have a self-leveling loader, when you're unloading something, keeps it at the same relationship to the ground. In other words, if you go into a pallet of bricks in your truck and pull it out and then drop it down, it's not going to go around a radius like this. It's going to go straight down. On a non-self-leveling loader like this one, if you back out of your truck with bricks and let it down, it's going to tilt the bricks forward and they could end up back into your truck. So as you let your forks down, you've got to adjust how level it is. And what I have found with pallet forks, you can watch your bucket level indicator, and if you don't have one, that's okay, because as long as you keep the top of the forks and get a set of forks with a flat top up here, as long as you keep that parallel to the ground as you go up and down, you'll be okay. Now one thing I want to tell you, if you're new to tractors, in order to be able to switch from your bucket to your pallet forks, you need a quick attach front end loader plate, and that comes standard on most tractors. And there's really, on the smaller tractors, there's two different forms. There's this one, which Kubota, Coyote, Mahindra, LS, Branson, Case, I'm trying to think of TYM, who am I forgetting? Massey, all of the tractor companies use is a skid loader compatible quick attach, which anything that fits a skid loader will fit this, and I like that. Deere, me and Deere, oh, love you Deere, has their own quick attach system. It works different than this, and so it requires pallet forks. Now, other people make pallet forks for a Deere tractor, but generally I think they do that so you'll buy your attachments from Deere. But what fits a Deere tractor with pallet forks will not fit most other tractors, all other tractors, because it's a unique system. So you have to have a quick attach, and I'll talk about that in another video. Last thing, if you want to know why I'm thinking about, seriously, about going from 42-inch pallet forks to 48, is because you can put a grapple on pallet forks and have pallet forks that also function as a grapple, and you save having one thing laying around in the fence row or trying to find storage for it in a building. And if I do that, those they sit right back here on the back of the fork, and if I do that, that's going to take up a little bit of space and take away some of my pallet area. So I think I would need to go from the 42-inch pallet forks to the 48, and that would all even out. And I'm going to be evaluating those, the grapple that goes on the pallet forks in another video, which I'll link to when it's done. So that's everything I know about pallet forks. If you're thinking about buying a tractor, get the forks. You'll use them way more than you ever think you will, and you'll find uses for them you never thought about. They're just the handiest tool, and they're a great back saver, especially if you're an old guy. Appreciate you watching my videos. If you'd like to buy a set of pallet forks just like this, go to my store right here. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click the mic face icon and make sure you check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. And here's a video on a similar topic you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.